there are better YouTubers who do game analyses and breakdown and stuff, and I am not here for that.
Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut, Player's Choice Edition, Nintendo GameCube, 2003. This game is now almost exactly 20 years old, and this particular copy has a bit of a story.
In 2003, I was only 10 years old. At the time, my mom had just started to hang out with the person who would become her future husband and my future stepfather. However, that didn't last long, only about maybe 6 years in total, the marriage only being 3. By 2003, I had only had my Nintendo GameCube for 1 year. I had played things such as Luigi's Mansion and Mario Sunshine. Pretty standard fare for a Nintendo GameCube owner. And I had a host of other games, but those are not important right now. During that time, I was going through a lot of emotional and mental abuse and eventually physical abuse. My Nintendo GameCube quickly became my one and only escape from the pain. I found myself greatly enjoying the atmosphere, the music, the characters, the story, and the overall tone and joy that Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut 2003 Player's Choice Edition on the Nintendo GameCube could give me. Eventually, the abuse got so bad and he couldn't decide whether he was with us or his other family, and so we were evicted because, well, does he live here or doesn't he? Should we raise the rent or not? Please answer. You refuse to answer? Okay, get out. This really did not help my development as a human being. But what it did help me develop into a dirty furry. The main reason that I'd end up getting beaten is because of the heavy addiction to alcohol that my stepfather had. And the reason my mother would do it is because she has no volition of her own, no free will of her own. She must follow someone or something and has no agency over herself. Well, with all of the abuse and the neglect and the fact that 3 babies in that many years have been born and are now currently occupying the apartment with us, it fell into disarray. And with that came the roaches, where the roaches are in the seams of the walls. They're through the cracks in the corners and the cracks in the corner of the roof and the wall. We also had popcorn ceiling, and it was spread out across the entire ceiling in those little pockets of popcorny goodness. And they would fall on us all the time. This entire time, whilst I've been alive and playing Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut 2003 Player's Choice Edition on the Nintendo GameCube, I've realized now how important it was to me. This absolute fever dream of a game, and it means so much to me. It was there with me along with all of the other games in my library. The sad reality is after all of that, and when I finally became an adult at 18 and had the choice to do what I wanted to do and be, I fell into an addiction spiral. I was dopamining it up in bad games with bad people and doing bad things to my body. I was also sat on top of a natural gas pipe that had been leaking for who knows how long, only having been fixed in 2020. Well, during all of the depression and madness and trying to cope with the loss of someone that I had only known for roughly 3 years committing suicide when I was still in high school, I let my house go. A few years of deep grieving later, I am out of that. I was cleaning my room, and I was cleaning it deeply, and then I threw away a box. This box was filled with trash, but also because of the mess and state of my room, a couple of games fell into that box that I didn't notice before I threw it away. Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut 2003 Player's Choice Edition, and Super Smash Bros. Melee, which, honestly, I don't give a shit. So there it was, Sonic Adventure and Smash Bros. Melee sitting in my trash can. Well, I can only assume that a homeless person digging through my cans found them, realized that, while they may be old, they might still be valuable of the condition, went to try to sell them. There is only a single store in my city that will offer cash on hand for such an old game. At this store sat my game for several months. Eventually, I move on from the loss of the game and I seek game stores to try to replace it. What store do I happen upon? Well, the only one in town that has that game, and another I'd like to get, Majora's Mask for the Nintendo 64. Now, at the store, I got my copy of Majora's Mask, but in the glass, I saw a copy of Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut 2003 Player's Choice Edition with a distinct marker that I recognized. A small dimple in the top right of the case. While I've long since forgotten how it was made, I distinctly remember it annoying the hell out of me ever since I was a child. That alone, and the copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee sitting directly next to it, was more than enough to confirm that this is my copy of the game. As time went on and a few months passed, I decided to finally pick it up again. The game sat there the entire time because, well, it's Sonic Adventure, DX Director's Cut 2003 Player's Choice Edition for the Nintendo GameCube. It's not exactly an uncommon title, even though it is rather expensive. When I had finally decided to buy the game and walk out with it, I thought maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe this is really just an elaborate coincidence, and it still could be. But then I opened the case, and I noticed something. It was cleaner than I remember. I lived in that horrible roach-infested apartment for several years. They got everywhere, including inside of some of my GameCube cases. Well, whoever cleaned out this case did an amazing job, but they missed a few little, speckles of roach shit caked into the case. There it is. You can see it. This is my game. That's roach shit. Wow. Ironically, these little roach duty speckles were probably things that people saw in the case, didn't bother to say it, just put it back and said, actually, maybe I'll get something else. What is undoubtedly the worst time in my life just saved my game, potentially, from being bought and taken by my carelessness when trying to clean a den of depression that I inherited. I find it very interesting that Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut 2003 Player's Choice Edition for the Nintendo GameCube is making me accept my past and the future that I have in front of me and get over some things.